Hi guys, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your July 14th forecast. And let's talk, because the moon is going to go into Cancer. This is a very, very watery moon for already a highly emotional week. And so the moon represents your emotions as well as your nurturing and motherly energies. And so we now have the moon, Mercury, Mars, and the sun all in Cancer, all working together. So let me talk to you about when all of these energies line up together. This is called a stellium. And so when energies all get together, such as your moon, Mercury, Mars, and the sun, and they're all in very, very close degrees to each other, if something ignites one of those energies, it ignites them all at the same time. That's what makes this week kind of crazy, right? And so if something sparks an emotional response within you, then it's going to ignite Mercury, which is going to make you highly analytical, and it's going to make you think extensively about it, and it's going to want to make you communicate it out. And then you will have Mars then ignited at the same time, which says, okay, I'm going to be super passionate about this subject because you know what? I've been quiet long enough and I need to really, really talk about this and we need to get it done. And it's going to be emotion based. And then it's also going to be what you authentically want. If you want to know what somebody really thinks about you, if you want to know how somebody really feels about you, this is the week to have the conversation, because this week is going to be one of the most revealing weeks that you have. It's almost as though you have ingested truth serum and you can't help but say how you feel. And God help you if you're a Cancer in this week. I feel for all of us Cancers because we are extra truth serum. It's like we ingested it and we can't help but say what's on our mind. So if somebody wants to know where we're at mentally, if somebody wants us to know how we feel about them, if somebody wants us to be vulnerable, we are going to have no choice but to pipe up our feelings. Now this is very unusual for Cancers, but honestly, Cancers aren't in tune with their emotions. They run from them. They hide from them. If anything causes them to get too emotional, they just regress. And they don't like it. You know what they want? They want somebody who doesn't make them feel emotional. You know what my favorite character is? Spock. I have the hots for anybody who plays a Spock character. Because you know what? He's logic-based. He has no emotion. I admire people who aren't emotional. If people are too emotional around me, I feel their emotions too intensely, and I want, it's an overload of emotions, and I always run away from people who are highly emotional. People that I'm completely drawn to are those strong silent types who don't seem to have any emotion whatsoever, because I deeply wish I was like that. And so although it's a terrible, it's a low vibration of Cancer energy for absolute sure. If you want to know how your Cancer feels about you, if you want to know what the nitty-gritty of what's going on, if you want to know why they left you, if you want to know anything about a Cancer, this is the week to dive into their psyche and figure it out. They're going to be highly vulnerable. It's like they're walking around the beach and they just shed their shell and they are just as vulnerable as can be. So they will, if you are familiar, they are going to seek you out and want to hide with you because you know what, they're naked right now. They don't have their protective covering. They're very, very vulnerable. What makes it even worse in this particular energy, and everybody's going to feel emotional. It doesn't matter how, you can be Spock for crying out loud, and you are going to feel emotional. You are going to, your logic and your emotion are going to have this showdown, you know, this serious showdown where Mercury is going to say, you know what, I know that you feel this way, but logically, this is why you're feeling it. And it's going to try to have a conversation with this energy, but it's going to drive you batty because you want to completely react emotionally. Every ounce of you massive planets are in this emotional energy. And so even though you have lots of energy in an energy that can make you rational and logical, you're not going to act out that way. And it's going to be very, very confusing for you. And I feel like some of you are going to feel crazy, and you're going to feel like you're losing your personal power. You're vulnerable. You feel like if you say your emotions, if you tell that person that you love them, if you tell somebody that they hurt you, if you go back and you start dealing with family issues that happened in your past, that it's going to reveal something that maybe you are scared to reveal. You're going to want to hide. You know what? This energy is here for a reason. It is pushing Cancers. It is pushing water signs. It is pushing everybody to have emotional depths that they are not comfortable with. This is not going to be a comfortable energy. You're going to find that people act out emotionally, and it's going to cause emotional reactions in you that you're not going to feel comfortable with dealing with. So here are some energies. Let's talk about today, because we can work with today. Now, our moon is in Cancer, and it's afflicted, so we're going to be on edge. We're going to be highly intuitive. We're going to feel very vulnerable today. So let's talk. How do we get through a day like this, right? We get through a day by just freaking pretending that this day isn't even going on. And the reason I say this is because we have glorious, sweet Neptune. Neptune is the planet of illusion and fantasy in Pisces, which is going to give us this intuitive awareness. It's going to let us slip into our subconscious a little bit more. If we find that we are on emotion overload, Neptune has come in to save the day and really manifest a positive energy in this day. It is trining the moon, Mercury, Mars, and the sun. Now, yes, your emotions can get out of control, and you could be a complete psycho today if you want to. Well, I say why? Why not harness this trine? Now, trines are there. Trine is energy that's super easy. We could easily slip into the fantasy world, but you know what? We're really overwhelmed with all these emotions, so we feel like we have to make emotional-based decisions, and we ride that drama wave, right? But why? Why do we do that when we have a trine? If we just harness the energy right, if we just look at this trine as like our personal savior in this day, you know what? The sun and Mars are going to be squaring off with Uranus in Aries. So we're talking about ego-based energy. We're talking about what we want. We're talking about if somebody starts bringing up emotional vulnerabilities, it could make us lash out and make us act, in a really low vibration and energy. It can make us, act like a 2-year-old and throw tantrums about what we want and throw, and have these, if we have an emotion-based reaction, it's going to be volatile, and it's going to be aggressive instead of assertive. So we can have like a day like that. Also, Saturn and Scorpio is going to be squaring off with Jupiter and Venus. So, Saturn is in an epic power struggle this week. It is not letting Jupiter take control of this week. Now, a square can work together eventually, but they have to communicate. But you know what? You've got two power players, right? Talking to each other in the heavens. They are not getting along. They don't see eye to eye. Jupiter wants to be benefic. It wants to give you love and passion and reignite you. You know what? But Saturn wants you to sit down in a controlling classroom and learn lessons the hard way. And Jupiter doesn't agree with that. Jupiter doesn't see that as a positive learning experience. It doesn't see it as it won't get you to that highest learning potential. So these two are going at it, right? Something could come up today that could set you off. And you know what you do? You find a quiet spot. I don't care if it's just sitting on the toilet. Sometimes that's my only place where I can just sit down and meditate for the minutes I have to myself, especially when I'm talking about a work week. And I take a little walk, or that drive to work where I just turn off the music and I just honestly just sit there and idealize my life. You know what I always do? My favorite favorite thing to do is pretend like I've won the lottery. And I go shopping in my head because I dig that. I like to shop. I don't really shop, but I love it if I could. And so I start to think about my dream is a sailboat. I dream of buying a sailboat and going off and sailing for the rest of my life. I dream of doing astrology for the rest of my life and it being something that is just the only thing I do instead of have to work. I dream about falling in love and meeting an amazing man that supports me and he's really into outdoors and we're off paddleboarding one day and we're off sailing the next, and I have images in my head of all of that and I just go off on that. When days get too tough and I can't take all of this water energy, take it from a water energy, go off and harness this trine in Neptune today. And just own the fact that you have control over this day. I know your emotions are going to feel topsy-turvy. I know you're going to feel like you're on a wave. I know that you're going to feel like you just, you're at your limit. But I can assure you there is power to be had in today. And that is just through being an imaginative person and persevering through the energy. I hope you have a wonderful day. Get lost in this beautiful Neptune-Pisces energy. Let it intuitively guide you through these energies. And I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow.